Okay, in this section, we're going to go over the retouch section of Facetune 2. So the first thing you want to do is load up your picture when you open Facetune 2. You can do that on the top right in that icon that shows a picture. You find the picture that you want and you load it. So I have here a picture of myself from the course. We took this earlier today. And then I'm going to go to the Retouch tab on the bottom left. It says Retouch. I tap on that. Now, the first tool is called Auto. What Auto does is it does all the adjustments on the face and fixes it completely without you having to go through all these different tools here. Now, Facetune only works when it can recognize a face. So you really want to do this on a selfie that you've taken and it can detect the face clearly. You don't want to do this really when there's multiple faces. You can, it's just a little bit harder. Some of the features won't work if you have multiple faces. And you don't want to do this if you don't have enough lighting. You want to have enough lighting in the picture. And you don't want to do this if it's more than just your face. Like this much composition is perfect. You don't want it to be like full body picture or anything. So I'm going to zoom in a little to my face so you can see my face here. All the imperfections in my face, we're going to try to fix as many of them using this tool. So the first one's called Auto. And what Auto does is that it will fix the whole face automatically. So when I press on that, it automatically fixes everything. It softened my skin, it brightened it, smooth, it whitened my teeth, everything. I'm going to go back and undo everything. So that's what Auto does. If you want a quick fix, you can just press Auto and it's going to fix everything by itself. The next tool is called Heal. What Heal does, so if I press on Heal, there is the bandage and then the eraser. So the bandage on the left side, what it does is whatever I highlight, it's going to fix. So it got rid of that little dot. I can get rid of this. And then to move the picture over, you want to hold on the picture with 2 fingers. So I put 2 fingers on the picture and then I can slide this over left and right. If I just do 1 finger, it's going to highlight. And that's what it's going to fix. I have to put 2 fingers on the picture, pinch in, pinch out, and then move left and right with 2 fingers. Okay? So now I'm going to highlight this area, fix that, fix this, and so on, right? Now, let me go to a bigger part like this birthmark here. I'm going to erase it. Now, sometimes it does a bad job. You got to do it again, multiple times. That's as good as it's going to get. Now, what the eraser does, the one next to the bandage, and what it does for most of these tools, is it erases everything that you did with that tool. So if I move my finger across that area again, it's going to erase everything and bring that birthmark back. Okay? So to show you even better, I'm going to do the bandage on my whole eye a few times. And my eye starts to erase. Okay? And then it looks weird. If I want to erase that, I go into the eraser and I just slide right through and it erases everything. Okay? So that's what the eraser does. Now with whitening, it's pretty straightforward. It whitens teeth. Okay? So what you want to do is move your finger somewhere in one teeth, and then on the other one, and then slide the slider all the way to the right to 100%. Then start moving your finger across all your teeth. Okay, here's all my teeth. And I put it at 100% so I can see the effect happening. So I know I'm highlighting the right parts. Now that I have all my teeth highlighted, I zoom out, I look at the full picture, and then I lower this. So I can lower the effect and it's not too much. Somewhere around 75 looks good. And that's how I will leave it. My teeth look white and nice. Okay? Now the next tool is smooth. So what smooth does is it makes the skin smooth. So let's say this part of my cheek, this pink, I can move my fingers across it and it makes my cheeks look very smooth. Okay? For you to see it a little bit more clear, I'm going to do it right above my lip where you have where I shaved above my lip. I'm just going to highlight this. I'm going to move my finger across this whole area. And smooth just makes it look smooth, which in turn kind of makes it look like I shaved a little bit better. Then I can lower the opacity to 0 and then 100. You can see it clearly. 0 completely goes away, and somewhere in the middle you can kind of see the effects of it. Now I'm at 100, and if I want to erase it, I go to the erase tool. And every time I click on the tool, every time I go from the smooth to the eraser, it shows the parts that were affected by the tool. If I go to the eraser, I can start erasing. And now you saw that I erased this part right here. I like the effect, so I'm gonna erase the whole thing just so I can show you some other tools on that area. Sorry, I had the wrong one selected. I want to erase everything. Make sure everything's erased. Okay, so everything's erased to the best of its ability. The next one is called smoother, right? And what this one does is that it adds even more to that effect. So I'm going to go to smoother, and I'm going to do the same thing. And then raise it to 100%. And you can see how strong this one is. It basically blurred the top of my lip. Now I can lower the opacity. I can zoom out and be like, find the right, somewhere around there. Looks good. This is kind of like if you want to blur something, I guess. This is what I would do for that. Now I'm going to leave it 100%, do the eraser tool, and just erase everything. Okay. The next one's called texture, right? Now, if I highlight an area, like the top of my lip, you can see that you get more detail, more texture in the top of my lip. Here's 100%. This is 0. This is the original picture at 100% full texture. Why would you want texture? I don't know, but it's there. So I'm going to erase everything. Or I can undo. It brought smoother back. Let me erase that. Okay. Now, the next one is called detail, which is very similar to texture. So let me just add detail. But as you can see, it looks a little different. Okay. I would do detail over texture. Texture for more stuff that's not like in your skin. But I don't like it, so I'm just going to erase everything. Okay? So I just wanted to show you guys that one. Next one is sharpen. So sharpen sharpens the picture and then makes it look like you can have more detail, like it's in focus. So if I have a part that looks a little blurry, like the nose, I can sharpen it, and now it looks like it's more in focus. Now I'm going to erase everything. The next one is structure, which is another tool that adds detail. So you basically have 1, 2, 3, 4 tools that will like add detail to a picture. Okay. Now the next one's called glow. Okay. So I put that on my cheek and it's glowing. Before and after. Put it at 100%. Just put it all over my face. And now my whole face is glowing. And I can lower it and raise it. And it's kind of a good tool to like brighten your face. Okay? Now, the next tool I am going to mess with is called the conceal tool. Now, with the conceal tool, I am going to first I'm going to get rid of glow. So undo glow. Okay, so glow is gone. Conceal does this. It fixes parts of your skin by adding concealer. So this is good for concealer basically gets rid of blemishes. So I'm rubbing it now on top of my lip, and you can see that it's getting rid of all the, basically everything on top of my lip. Okay. So this is before and after concealer. Concealer, if you're a woman, is makeup that kind of like removes blemishes. So I removed it in all the darker spots in my skin, and you can see how the blemishes shows at 100%. 100% completely gone, 0, and then somewhere in the middle you can leave it at. It's really, really cool tool. I'm gonna erase everything now. Okay. Now, we're gonna look at matte. So what matte does is it kind of like gets rid of some of the highlights in the picture and makes your face look a little flat. So I have rubbed it all over my face. And when you see the shininess of your face, it goes away. So matte is a way to get rid of shininess from the light. So you see the light at 0% in my nose, in my cheek, in my forehead. With this, that shininess goes away, and it's kind of like, if you want to think about it, think of like a picture that's you printed out and it's glossy or matte. Matte is not glossy, so it doesn't shine on the light. This is getting rid of the shine from the light if you don't want it to be shiny. Okay, cool tool to have. Now, the thing about this editor is that unless you have an eye for these things and you know what would look good or what wouldn't, it's really tough to edit a picture. This is great for someone who does like makeup professionally and knows what concealer does, matte, and all these things to make a face look good. But it's awesome that you have an app that can do that. The next one's called Cleanse, right? And I am going to press X, Retouch, and go to Cleanse so that we have everything at 0. And I am going to just highlight different parts of my face. Okay. So cleanse is kind of like putting a brush of powder in your face. It gets rid of blemishes. It kind of like gets rid of the shadows. It softens everything. Okay? It's kind of like the smooth one. So now I'm going to erase all this. Actually, I press X, retouch, and go to vibrance. Now, if I do vibrance, vibrance adds color. It brings the color back, makes the color pop in the picture. Kind of like saturation, but not as strong. This is 0. So if you want the color to pop, if you feel it's a little washed out, this gives me more color. Kind of like a tan. It knows I have orange. It's going to bring the orange out a little. Okay, X, retouch. Now I'm going to go to black and white. You can pick areas and make it black and white. I'm going to erase all that, bring the color back, but that's what black and white one does. Anti-glare. Okay. So I'm just going to highlight my whole face. As you can see here, my whole face is highlighted. And anti-glare is almost the same as matte, but not as strong. So this is 0. You can see the shininess in my face. And the shininess goes away. The highlights become smoother. So on the tip of my nose, at 100%, the tip of my nose becomes darker. The highlight part, the bright parts, my cheek and my nose starts to go away. 0 is completely there. 100, it goes away. So I press X, retouch, fix shadows. Okay, I go to fix shadows. I'm going to go right here to the shadow area through my eyes. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. So let me show you the areas that I picked. I'm going to erase this little middle part. Okay, so it brightened up the shadows. That's all that it did. It just brightened up the shadows areas. Okay, this is good for like lighting purposes, to get rid of like darker spots. Just fix shadow. That's what it says. That's what it does. Okay, the next one is called cool down. Cool down. I'll show you. I'm highlighting the whole face. Okay. So what cool down does is it adds a cool tone on whatever areas you highlighted. Cool meaning kind of like blue. So it makes my image look cooler as opposed to warmer. And it's just, if you feel like it is too warm of an image, it's like too red, and you want to make it cooler, you can add cool down, and it's going to make it bluer, cool, and temperature of color. Okay? And then the last one is fixed tone. I'm highlighting this whole thing. So what fixed tone does is it looks at the picture, looks at the temperature of the picture, and fixes it like white balance. So it's adding green because it found that it had too much purple, and the opposite of purple is green. So it's adding green to the image so that it is more balanced, white balanced. If it was green, it would add more purple, but it's basically fixing the color. Somewhere in the middle, it's getting rid of the purple, and it's perfect, and it almost disappears.